Hello and welcome. I'm Elizabeth Ephraim, data scientist and business analyst intern at the Sparks Foundation. So this is my attempt at task 4 of the GRIP internship program. And we are asked to perform exploratory data analysis on data sets, global terrorism. As a security or defense analyst, try to find out the hot zone of terrorism. What are the security issues and insights you can derive from EDA? So let's move to my dashboard. The first thing I did was to get data using the ETL process, using Power Query editor to transform data. So I cleaned the data by changing column type. I removed column. I think it will be best if I showed you the steps I took. So like I mentioned, I cleaned the data by changing column type. I removed columns with no data rather. I replaced values. I merged columns. We had the day, month, and year columns, all in separate columns rather. So I merged those columns to form just one single date column. I also renamed columns and I also splitted columns. So let's go back to my dashboard. At some point while building this dashboard, I thought I should have done this in Python using JupyterLab, but this will deliver as well. So global terrorism reports, total countries faced with terrorism is 205. Number of regions faced with terrorism is 12. Total terrorist events is 181,000. Successful attacks, that is successful terrorism attacks, is 162,000. Number of persons or targets killed from this attack is 412,000. Wounded targets from this terrorist attack is 524,000. Total amount paid for ransom is $4.28 billion. This data is dated from 1970 to 2017. So success by attack type. I'd just like to add that this is a difficult analysis because success here means people got hurt. Bombing, armed assaults cause the most harm, or rather are the most successful. What we would hope for is a world where these bars are reduced to nothing. Bombing has a success of 77,530 casualties or incidents. Armed assaults has 40,345 casualties. Assassination has 14,615. Kidnapping, 10,907. So I'm just going to click on bombing. And I'd like to share that successful attacks caused by bombing is 78,000. Killed targets is 157,000. And this happened in a total of 186 countries. Mostly I'm just going to slide down a bit. Mostly in the Middle East and North Africa region and also South Asia. So I'm going to click on armed assaults. If I click on armed assaults, it's more in the South Asia region with firearms as the top weapon. So if you check here, we can see that firearms are the top weapons. So I'm going to click on kidnapping. If I click on kidnapping, also, it's more in the South Asia region and the Middle East and North Africa. So I'm going to scroll up a bit so that we can see that the ransom amount paid is $3.65 billion. So Success by region and attack type. I'm going to scroll down, which is this chart. The top weapon for terrorist attacks are explosives. We can see. So I'm just going to click this. So we can see that the top weapon for terrorist attacks are explosives and firearms. Attack type and success by year. So let's move to this chart here, this line chart. So from 1970 to the 2000s, we've seen the rise in terrorist attacks. If you can see here where my pointer is, in 2014, however, there was a rise in terrorist attacks and a decline in 2015 all the way to 2017. So to attack the question, if I click on this page, to attack the question, which says, as a security defense analyst, try to find out the hot zone of terrorism. I would say from this dashboard that the Middle East and North Africa and South Asia are the hot zones. This doesn't mean that we turn a blind eye to the other regions, but the hot zones are the two regions highlighted in bright red. So, to answer the next question from this task, what are security issues and insights you can derive from EDA? That's from my analysis. The first thing I did, or rather, sorry, to answer that question, the second question. So I would say no country is immune to terrorism, as we can see, and no country can effectively deal with terrorism alone. From this analysis and insight, we can conclude that countries with weak counterterrorism capabilities, such as Middle East, North Africa, South Asia, are at risk of experiencing terrorist attacks. The criminal justice system of these regions have to increase their capacity to administer fair and effective justice to perpetrators of terrorist crimes. Preventive measures such as national action and international cooperation between countries, or rather between countries who don't have such terrorist attacks, can help address and combat terrorism issues effectively. So thank you so much for listening. Please leave your comments and reviews and any other pointers to things I would have done differently while building this dashboard. Thank you so much once again.